right, we have about, well, someone's going to tell me when we run out of time, otherwise you and I can probably talk about this stuff forever. Let's start with maybe a simple question on your reflection of the video, of the reason of why you felt like we should do this.
Okay, maybe Ajayata, thank you. First of all, just want to thank the entire CAT family and Sankalp for giving us this opportunity to really talk about our partnership, but also to bring me to this city, this state. I'm deeply passionate about UP. This is where I started my career almost 30 years back. But also as Microsoft, this is a very strategic priority for us. So thank you so much and congratulations to Sankalp once again. What are my reflections? And I think it's going to be a little bit of mix, Ajayata, of what I've been hearing since yesterday, but a little bit of my own journey on working with women entrepreneurs. Frankly, when we started this, when we started talking to Ajayata and Frontier Markets, what Microsoft had done for a very long time was, how do we give technology in the hands of women entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, but even organizations who are working with them, right? And I think what we learned is that if we have to really look at AI, and and maybe I'll start with Microsoft's mission statement,
yes.
Right? For us, what we want to do is contribute to Government of India's vision of people-centric, and I always start with that. I say people-centric, AI-first nation. And not only do it for India, but to look at how we are building models which apply to Global South, but also across the world. So that's really our vision. And for us, it means how do we make AI as a public good, which is useful, affordable for everyone, right? So every citizen, every enterprise, every government. And which actually really means, for my work, I lead the Corporate Social Responsibility Charter at Microsoft. What it means is, how do we shift the conversations from urban, elite, English-speaking spaces, how do we take AI from there into rural areas, tier 3, tier 4, local languages, local context, and rural enterprises. So, which is why I'm having this conversation with you. I think the highlight for me is that when we started this journey, Ajayata, I'll be honest, we are all friends here, so I hope nobody quotes me outside this conference room, is that we didn't really know what AI would really mean for women entrepreneurs. And we're very open to say that we have to learn. And that's why I think why I'm so excited is this partnership in the first year will help build a framework for us. For us to understand from the women themselves, what do they need from AI? What do they need AI to be? But also, I know this very well, that in their hands, it can become even more powerful than what you and I are actually thinking about, right? So one is, when I met Anuradha and I met Ruchi in the room, I was very clear that they probably have a better idea of what they can do with AI than I have. So I think that's the first reflection. I'm quietly excited and cautiously optimistic, but still when I look at them, I feel very confident. So I think that's my first reflection. I think the second one is just the power of frontier markets, what you've already done, but also some of the partners that I've met here, right? Whether that's MasterCard Inclusive, Center for Inclusive Growth, what they're doing with you, how you can bring others along, like Sankalp. So I'm excited. That I would say is my initial reflections.
Super well. Can you guys hear me? Maybe? Let me just take yours.
It's working now.
It is? Okay. So yes and yes and yes to everything. I think that what I am excited about, to your point about human centricity, is that, we can only co-create and design solutions if we have the right people in the room. And ultimately the voices, it's not working? Oh, okay, so sorry. I'm loud in general, but now this is louder. Okay, so what I was gonna say was, human centricity, co-creation is in, I think, the ethos of what we need to now do as a industry to understand how we bring in the digital tools that we have in front of us. But as you rightfully said, the women know what they want. And I'm just reflecting on our session in the morning, as you said. So Anuradha and Richa, who Manju's mentioning, these are our two Sahelis that are literally in the pavilion today. And we were doing this fun fireside chat, asking them. For me, what was really important was, I didn't even know how to explain AI. Like, how does one explain AI to our rural women in general? And so I used Ginny Didi as the example, as you know. And then they were like, oh. And so I was like, let me ask you this. If you could improve your experience as a woman entrepreneur on technology, and AI is this magic baba that can do something that will make you more efficient, what is it that you want? Do you remember what they said?
I know. I think we started by saying efficiency, but they said that what, I think you'll remember that better, Ajayta, but I think what they said is, can the app actually help them, the AI-enabled app actually help them when they wake up and open the app to tell them that today if they have to go from a certain income to another income or increase their customer base, what are the 5 things that they need to do, right? So, and by the way, they didn't know anything, and I was really looking at how's Ajayta throwing this question at them, but they were very clear what they need to be the next step and how AI can help them. I think that's what I remember.
No, you're right. So I gave them, they were like, because we said that joke where we said, what if Savitri Didi, which is the name of our AI app, said, good morning, Anuradha. Here are the 17 ways in Hindi, obviously. Good morning, Namaste, Anuradha. ये 50 तरीके से अगर आप ये काम कर सकते हो, अगले 2 घंटे में आपकी इतनी कमाई हो सकती है. And how is that actually happening? It's happening because we're aggregating the information that we need to make it happen. But the other one that I think you picked up on was also on the safety side. Do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah. So I think the, and this has come from a lot of other people too, when we've looked at women and women skilling on AI, but also in our conversation with government. What they said is they often have to go to areas and locations for their work, which are not known to them. And how can this app help them to navigate to that space? So it's more than just using a Google map to get somewhere or use any of the maps, but I think this is more about navigating. How do you get there? So do you take a bus from one place to another? Is it safe to be there? What is the time that is safest to be there? What are the maps that are safer for them, right? Which are the areas that are safer for them? What spaces can they go and have conversation? What time are clients and customers available? Like it sounds corny, and please know that I'm not coming from any patronizing space. But even I, who's been hearing AI for last 1 year, 1.5 years, couldn't have articulated it as well as they did in the context of just safety for them.
And I'll tell you, the honest reality is that when we first created the frontier markets model, we had made, I don't know if it's biased as an assumption, but we had said, okay, these rural women are waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. They have like 1,000 tasks they have to do anyway, in terms of taking care of their family, taking care of their farm, and then they have a few hours to do their work. And we wanted to optimize their ability to understand how they can take what their power is, that we heard again today was on trust and power and like real vishwas. That was like incredible. So we assumed that their customer base was only going to be those 50 households where they live. But today they were like, no, we have to go to like multiple villages. I'm known in my society, in my community, as being someone that is asked for to do services. So your point about the unknown is a really big one. I really had my own aha moment where I was like, oh wait, you're like going like 10 villages? You have like 1,000 people that are actually paying attention to you? So I think that safety element, route to market, best way, these are still phrases that ultimately are powerful for them to become efficient, right? What do you, please.
Maybe I have a question
for
you.
Yeah.
Since
this is what we're doing.
There's no
script, guys. We're just doing this impromptu. I just need you to know this. Yes.
I mean, they spoke about Man Saman. I think one thing that stood out for me is they said, we have a voice in our families, we have a voice in our community, and there is, people trust us, and I think they felt that that was even bigger than, of course, the fact that they're earning is also a big part of it. But Ajayta, every time, so for Microsoft, it's critical for us to work with others, right? So we work closely with government. We believe that we're not going to create anything in silo, and we work to bring other corporate partners as multipliers, right? So they can co-invest. But every time you go to the government, the question always comes to scale.
Right.
They're always saying, okay, 35, 40,000, but how can you take it across the country?
Right.
And how can you scale to larger number of women? And we know that scale is a double-edged sword, right? How do you balance actual impact, the real impact, and not just superficially touching someone or a click-through?
Yeah.
What do you think about that in the context of your work?
I was not expecting this, so thank you. You know, a lot of times when people talk about India, outsiders or insiders, they go, oh, well, you know, India is really tough because it's so diverse, it's so separated. What you've done in Rajasthan, you cannot replicate in Andhra, for example. And I essentially was like, yes and no. Because I think what we've cracked is an understanding of a mother. She's a mom or she's a beti, and she's someone who ultimately has an aspiration of wanting to change the systemic barriers. She comes from rural lands. If we look at the 7 lakh villages in this country and the 100 million women that are a part of the SAG infrastructure, even though they have their own identity that is unique, right? Language, culture, food, etc. What is common? Common is that they're a mom or a beti that wants to change the future of her kids. Kamai karni hai. She's a part of an infrastructure in, I think, the government, which has been brilliant, which is this SLRM, right? It's a state level rural livelihood mission. Today we have 100 million women who have a bank ID, Aadhaar, are connected to something. They're from an agri belt. So these became, I think, in my mind, the common nodes that enabled us to say, can we create a cookie cutter model? Now, where we really succeeded, and I realized I've never talked about AI more in the last, in my life than the last 1 year, is we use those data points to understand how we can improve our own internal activities on the ground. So what took me, so we're in Rajasthan, we're in UP, we're in Maharashtra, we're in Gujarat, and we're now in Andhra Pradesh. I had to learn how to build relationships with the government to make things happen in the right way because I wanted to leverage that. But I also had to understand how to get the language in fast. So it used to take us 20 days to bring a new language in. Now it takes 2. 2 days, right? Telugu came in 2 days. And the fact of the matter is, the model itself became cookie cutter because we also recognize that this is something that the government does want. This is something that CSR also wants. This is something that most people want. And this is honestly, the 210 plus partners that we have, they're commercial. They also want route to market. So I think now scale is not hard. We can literally be in any state that we want to be in if we do it the right way. But I think that where I'm hoping to build our partnership is there's still going to be inefficiencies, right? I can't do data mining with individuals anymore. I cannot have call centers with individuals anymore. If I'm going to go from 5 million families to 100 million families, that's a lot of information. That's a lot of analysis. That's a lot of work in terms of working with the million women entrepreneurs we want to create, which is where I'm going to ask you now, where do you think AI fits?
Ajayta, frankly speaking, I don't have the answer, as I said to you. Exactly. I said to you even before that I think the mandate from me, from my organization is whatever you need, not just in terms of investment, of course as CSR we make investment, but whatever you need from the might of Microsoft, they're willing to bring. So whether that is Microsoft, if you know Microsoft, we have a large development center where we have engineers. We have Microsoft Research Lab, which is looking at blue skies work. They've done some phenomenal work on co-pilots, co-assistants, the work around data sets, low bandwidth AI. So what they've said, and you know I'm not a technical person, I'm a social impact person.
Neither am I, so am I. This is why we love each other.
So I think what we should look at is how we can really over time build a framework. So I think again, as I said, we're patient. For first year, we're building a framework and then we bring in others from Microsoft. But this is an amazing platform and place, and if there are others who can help us and support, not just Microsoft, we're all for partnering with others, that would be great, Ajay.
Amazing. And I know our time is up, so what I will say is in a summarization of this, and because we were launching what's now going to be more perspectives coming in, but I think that really my key takeaways has been co-create, be human-centric, understand that Bharat is a massive market opportunity, recognize that you need partners to make it happen, so it's not just one, but it's an entire Baradri that needs to come together in the right way. And I would also say the more important thing is that if you bring AI and skilling in the hands of women, dhamakas can happen.
Absolutely.
Yes? Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put your hands together for these two boss ladies, Ajanta and Anjuna. Totally in awe of how you presented your views, and most importantly, how digital tools can just aid best for women entrepreneurs. Moving on ahead.